If you think surviving a freezing winter is hard today, imagine doing it without fire. No matches, no heaters, no thick jackets, no hot food, just ice, wind, darkness, and a human body that should have frozen to death. So here's the mystery. If fire was the greatest survival tool ever invented, how did humans stay alive before they learned to control it? The answer isn't what most people think. And hidden inside that answer is a lesson about human intelligence that still shapes your life today. For a moment, forget everything around you. Imagine waking up in a world nearly 2 million years ago. The air burns your lungs. The ground is frozen solid. Your hands are numb before sunrise. You don't own clothes. You don't have a house. You don't even know what tomorrow means. Yet somehow, your species survives. How? To understand that, we first need to destroy one of the biggest myths about early humans. Most people imagine ancient humans living exactly where we live today. That's not true. The earliest humans evolved in much warmer parts of Africa. For thousands of generations, freezing winters simply weren't their biggest problem. Predators were. Finding food was. Avoiding starvation was. Cold existed, but not the kind that covered entire landscapes with snow. So for a long time, humans didn't need fire to survive. But then something extraordinary happened. Our ancestors started moving slowly, generation after generation. They wandered into colder regions, not because they wanted adventure, because food disappeared, animals migrated, rivers changed, climate shifted, and every step north brought a new enemy, the cold. Unlike a lion, you can't fight freezing temperatures. You can't outrun winter. You either adapt or disappear forever. Here's what's fascinating. Long before humans mastered fire, evolution had already started preparing them. Think about goosebumps. They seem useless today, but millions of years ago, our ancestors probably had much thicker body hair. When tiny muscles lifted those hairs, they trapped warm air close to the skin. Many mammals still use this trick. We inherited the mechanism even after losing most of the fur. It's a tiny reminder of an ancient survival system hiding in your own body. But body hair wasn't enough. The colder the world became, the smarter humans had to become. Instead of changing their bodies quickly, they changed their behavior, and that changed everything. Imagine standing in an open field during winter. Now, imagine standing beside a giant rock wall. Immediately, the wind feels weaker. The temperature feels different. That simple observation may have saved thousands of lives. Early humans learned something every survival expert knows today. Where you sleep matters more than how strong you are. Natural caves, rock shelters, dense forests, even hills that blocked icy winds became life-saving shelters. Nature itself became their first home. Here's something surprising. You don't always die from cold because the air is freezing. You often die because your body loses heat too fast. Wind steals warmth. Wet skin steals warmth. The frozen ground steals warmth. So survival wasn't about becoming warmer. It was about losing less heat. That's a completely different strategy. Think about how birds puff up their feathers in winter, or how foxes curl into a tight ball while sleeping. Humans discovered similar ideas. Without understanding physics, they mastered it anyway. Groups huddled together while resting. Bodies shared heat. One person's warmth became another person's survival. It's almost strange to think about. The first central heating system was other people. And suddenly, being social wasn't just emotionally helpful. It became biologically necessary. If you've ever wondered why humans evolved to be deeply social, cold may be one reason. Being alone meant losing body heat. Being together meant another sunrise. But the cold had another cruel trick: food. When temperatures drop, finding enough calories becomes incredibly difficult. And calories are more than energy. They're fuel for body heat. Your body is like a furnace. Without fuel, the fire inside you fades. Ironically, humans survived before controlling external fire because they relied on the invisible fire already burning inside them. Every bite mattered. Every hunt mattered. Every successful meal could mean another week of life. This forced early humans to become incredible observers. They learned migration routes, animal behavior, seasonal changes, which roots stayed edible beneath frozen soil, which trees trees offered protection? Which valleys trapped warmth? Knowledge became as valuable as strength, maybe even more valuable. Think about that. The smartest person in the group wasn't necessarily the strongest hunter. They might have simply remembered where food appeared every winter. Memory became survival, and survival rewarded intelligence. But here's the twist almost nobody talks about. Cold didn't just shape human bodies, it shaped human minds. When survival depends on planning weeks ahead, your brain changes. You stop thinking only about today. You begin imagining tomorrow, then next month, then next winter. The ability to predict became a superpower. Modern humans still use that same ability. Saving money, preparing meals, planning careers, studying for exams. They're all echoes of ancient winter survival. Your brain evolved to prepare for future danger. Sometimes that's why anxiety exists. It's an overactive survival system trying to protect tomorrow. But back then, it worked. Every careful planner increased the group's chances of survival. Now imagine another freezing night. Darkness falls. The temperature drops even lower. Predators begin moving. You don't have fire. So what do? You stay close, you stay quiet, you stay alert. Sleep becomes dangerous. Researchers believe groups likely took turns resting. Someone stayed awake while others slept, not because they enjoyed helping, because cooperation kept everyone alive. This is something we often forget. Human civilization wasn't built by the strongest individual. It was built by groups that trusted each other enough to survive impossible conditions. Trust may have been as important as any invention, but eventually everything changed. At some point, humans didn't just fear fire, they learned to control it. And when they did, history split into two chapters: before fire and after fire. Suddenly, nights became longer, food became safer, predators stayed farther away, warmth became portable, cold regions opened for exploration, brains grew larger, communities expanded, stories were shared around glowing flames. Some scientists even suggest cooking allowed humans to absorb more calories with less effort. That extra energy may have helped fuel the evolution of our remarkably large brains. Think about that for a second. The same species that once shivered through freezing nights eventually built cities filled with electric lights, heated homes, and space stations orbiting Earth. Not because we became physically stronger, because we became better at solving problems together. And maybe that's the real story hidden beneath ancient winters. Humans didn't survive because they were the fastest. They weren't the biggest. They weren't the strongest. They survived because they adapted faster than fear could defeat them. Every challenge forced a new idea. Every harsh winter rewarded creativity. Every generation passed knowledge to the next. That invisible chain of learning never stopped. It stretches from an icy cave all the way to the screen you're looking at right now. The next time you complain about a cold morning, remember this: somewhere deep inside your DNA lives the memory of ancestors who faced freezing darkness with almost nothing and still refused to disappear. Maybe the greatest human invention wasn't fire after all. Maybe it was the decision to keep searching for a way forward even before the world gave us one.